FocusSight.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here, and thank you to everyone who donated in the bid war. Thanks to your donations, we are going to be playing on the Japanese version, which, fortunately, is also the fastest version. If English won, we would have had to add 2 minutes to the estimate, just because we can't have English voices and the fastest text, so would have lost some time there, so thank you everyone for that. I'm going to make this short and sweet. This is my button layout for everything. The only change I have from the usual settings is that dash is on RB, player switch is on B, and the cameras are the triggers, and the lock-on is LB. Just wanted to show that because it's important to show at the beginning of each run. We're going to be doing this run from a new file, so new game, hence NG. It's just this option here, and I think I'm ready to start if you can give me a countdown.
I'd love to. Please begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Mega Man X7, or Rockman X7, takes place at a weird point in the franchise because the franchise was supposed to end at X5. X7 introduces this new character, Axel, who is fitted with the most futuristic technology of being able to copy people, kind of like the hat from Mario Odyssey, except he can only copy people relatively his shape and size because he's a prototype, and that made it programming easier. He is escaping from his former organization of Red Alert, who is this sort of, what's the term? Like, vigilante group, who turns out actually to be evil. Axel doesn't want to be associated with that, so he's escaping from them, but they are hot on his tail, and it's up to us to escape and destroy the mechanaloid that is coming after us. As you might be able to notice, this game's in 3D. This game takes place in both 2D and 3D, and is the only Mega Man X game to do so. So in order to hone in on things in both 2D and 3D, you have an auto reticle, and you can swap between it using one of the buttons, and for me it's the left bumper. Makes it pretty easy to aim at things compared to like other X games or other Mega Man titles. And because of that, we save a little bit of time. So yeah, Axel's here, he's out of breath. Same voice actor in Japanese as Pit from the Kid Icarus series, actually, even to this day. So if you ever played Pit in Smash Ultimate in Japanese, same voice actress. And now we have, if you might not notice, this is the same stage, or supposed to be the same highway, from the original Mega Man X game, which is a reference because this is supposed to be a game for the 15th anniversary of all of Mega Man. It's actually only the 10th anniversary of the X series, I think, or something like that. So they decided to add a lot of references to Mega Man X1, which is why we got these Bs here, Robot Bee represent, like me, although I'm a wasp, so, you know, close enough though. And Zero's like, oh, this looks familiar. And so yeah, this is supposed to be a reference to all that. Now we have a really quick mechanic we only use in the intro stage. If we press crouch the moment we slash, we can cancel it and repeatedly slash. And that allows us to get rid of these in quick time. This part here is RNG, and that is a mechanic you're going to hear a lot in X7. It is probably the most RNG-based of any Mega Man X game. I'm just going to be repeatedly dash slashing, because I want to eliminate as many as I can within one press of the X button. And their positions are just random. But we know when everyone's done when they stop spawning in again. We do the dash slash, or we do the crouch slash cancel again to get rid of it in quick time. I hold the D-pad here, and then I hold the control stick because we're going to be going from 2D to 3D. Yippee! Wow! PS2 is a wonderful console, but we're actually running on the X Legacy Collection version, which is the only version that actually is fastest for speedrunning of all the X games that are on there. So we can't do crouching in 3D, so instead we need to dash slash cancel, like in, you know, the PSX games. Except we just cancel by running into a wall, which there's a small wall there, an invisible wall in 3D. And so we just use that to repeatedly hit. I want to wait a little bit later on the animation so we can do 2 hits there instead of the usual 1. We're going to jump here so that we can get through the automated section faster. There's a lot of automated cutscenes like this, where the characters will just walk if you don't do anything, but you can jump into them, and usually that saves time, because it reduces the amount of time they walk. We'll come back to that later when it becomes more relevant in the run. Is anything besides me cel-shaded? It's the future that Wind Waker wanted, my friend. It was the era. It was 2003. People, I mean, honestly, the game looks better than if they did hyper-realistic, in my opinion. That's the Twilight Princess syndrome, I like to call it. Yeah, we're being chased by this dude. I forget his actual name. It's not that important. It's what Red Alert sent us. It's a scorpion. To kill us. This run, we'll see X later. You'll see X later, I'll tell you that much. I'm gonna leave it a surprise for now. This is any percent, just for reference, so we just need to beat the game as quick as possible from start to finish. Axel right here is introducing the main mechanic that's been introduced in X7, although it was in some earlier games, like Extreme 2. You can swap between partners by pressing B, in my case. And it lets you swap between the two, but we're not going to do that here, because it's actually fastest to complete this as 0. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's bad luck. Is he going to turn around? Okay. Am I going to... Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh. Why? This hit collision on this boss is really annoying. Sometimes it will hit the claws, which don't do any damage, and other times it will hit his actual head, which is where it does do damage. Got very unlucky there, unfortunately. But it happens, you know. So now we have a lot of text coming in here. When you do New Game, unfortunately all this text is required to scroll through. And as you can see, this is why the English version would be slower. There's another reason why we pick... If I was running English right now, I'd be running on the UK version, which is selectable in this compilation. The reason why I would be running on the UK English is because in the United States version of the game, every single weapon's damage is reduced by 1. Every single one. As all characters across all weapons, across all weaknesses. Which means that for instance, Axel's regular pistol does 2 in the Japanese and European versions, but does 1 on the US English version. Which makes the US English version artificially harder. And so, to get the best bang for a buck, you want to play on Japanese for the fastest text, but if you must play in English, play on UK English, even casually. It's the intended balance of the game. So now we have our first Maverick here, Vanishing Gunguru, and there is a specific order that we go through, but it's not weakness order. Many people would think that weakness order is the fastest, but you'll see in X7 how overpowered some things can be. So, the reason I jump slash is 0 is because it makes him go slightly further, and thus is faster if you don't collide into anything. Unlike that. You can even use it to go higher than normal, and skip the entire wall like that, for instance. Dash slash into these two, and we get our first Reploid to rescue. So, there are, I believe, 16 Reploids in each stage. I want to say it's either 16 or 12. So, well, what's 120 divided by 8? Anyone can do quick maths to me? 120 divided by 8, because it's that number. I think that's 16. We only need to collect a few in the 80% run, because we do need to get some upgrades for Axel and Zero. So I'm going to use this mech here, and the spider mech... Okay, 15. I was a math major, but I only exclusively do stuff with Chinese now, so my mental math game is not up there, sorry. And I don't have to think about collecting every Reploid, I don't do 100% in this game. But we want to collect a few. So Reploids immediately restore your health variable amount in the stage itself. But they also, some have chips, what are called chips, or CDs, which allow you to upgrade your main characters. And so we want to get a total of 7 in this run, which at the least we need 4 stages worth of doing that. Get that guy, drill into this guy. There you go. We need to get 7, and so we've gotten the 2 already. It's a set position every time, fortunately, which means we can just route it in by collecting them. Now, the reason why we brought this spider mech all the way here is we want to use it on these guys, because it's much faster to kill them. Normally, you would just get the mech here. Like, you would go and collect this exact mech at this place. But we don't want that. We want to be able to get a different mech for the boss, which is why we do this stage first. Because it's fastest to do it with all these mechs and such. And we got good luck with the, Oh, that's not good. Well, I'm just going to go over here as Axel and collect the blue mech, which is what we want to use to fight Gungaroo. And we can use for reference, the drill and this shield are both done in the same way. Dash forward, press special attack. And it's very useful, as you can see. Very quick. Although the number of mechanoloids you'll get there is actually random, and their positions are random, so yet again, our RNG is a big theme throughout this run. The reason why you want to keep that mech into this boss, and you wouldn't normally get the blue mech here. Again, the only reason you get this blue mech is because we got the spider mech all the way from the second stage in this section to the last. And what we can do with that is absolutely annihilate this kangaroo. So, jump over here, and we get into the mech, and we spam that same special attack repeatedly back and forth. He's dead, and now he's going to get out of the mech. We're going to stand here, and we're just going to hold forward on the D-pad. Quick for that, and dash back in. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, there we go. That kills him really quickly. If you lose the mech, if the mech is destroyed, it wastes a lot of time, so that's pretty good. Unfortunately, we're going to have to fight him properly later in the refights. It's a bit of a spoiler, I suppose, but at least in the first challenge, the mech makes him a piece of cake, in my opinion. So now we get what is by far the best weapon for Axel, which is G-Launcher, which has the special weapon, Explosion. Now, G-Launcher is essentially like a shotgun. It's technically a grenade launcher, but it works like a shotgun, so you can't... Rapid firing it takes some time, and it means that it won't lock on immediately, but if you're in close range to enemies, especially bosses, it's one of the highest DPS guns that Axel can get. Explosion is also one of the highest DPS just moves in general in the game, and so it's good to have that early on, so that we can use it in all bosses moving forward, at least the majority of them. Explosion is one of two weapons that essentially are the centerpiece of combat in Mega Man X7. Now we have these chips, we won them by collecting the Reploids that had them. We're going to upgrade Axel to be our speed character, and Zero to be our tank, is the way I like to think about it. So for instance, Zero's going to get all the stuff that improves his defense and his special attacks, while Axel's going to get Hyper Dash, which helps him move through the stage faster. So Axel will be the person we use to move through the stage, and Zero will be the person we use to defeat bosses, usually. This is why I'm going to switch to Axel here, and I'm going to then put Zero as my backup, because most of the time we want to start out as Axel to get through the stage as quick as possible, then move on to Zero for the final boss, in most instances. It depends on what the boss's pattern is and how quickly you can get through it. For Ryborski here, we're going to play some F-Zero, because I guess I can't say it's dead, because technically it recently came back. Oops. So this is a ride chaser section, done entirely in 3D, and despite it being done in 3D, I usually control it with the D-pad, because oh, I'm going to need to come back for that, because it is very slippery. Like, it is extremely slippery. We need to disarm the bombs by running into them. I wish that was a joke, but no, that's what we do. Oh, good. Go through here a bit safe. We didn't collect one of the chips. This is one of them. We're going to go hard right, because if we don't, he'll despawn before we can collect him. Now you might be thinking, oh, Focus, you left some things behind there. And I did deliberately, although not this one. This one was not deliberate, so I'll just make sure to get it. The reason I picked these up later is because it's easier to do this in 2 parts than it is in 1. Oh my gosh, that could have gone really poorly. You want to get both the weapon tank and the Reploid there, both of them. You need both, and it's easier if you go through the second round instead of trying to collect that, the bomb to the right of it, and the Reploid in one go. Now, I'm going to be starting the stage as 0, but I'm not going to be using 0 on this boss. I recently optimized and figured out every single character in this game, all three, 0, Axel, and X, have different cutscenes with the bosses, and I just recently timed out which ones are fastest. And it's actually faster to go to 0 there, and then finish the stage as Axel. It's faster even with the swap between them. Because Axel's cutscene's about 3 seconds longer. Even with the swap, you save 2 seconds that way. So. You might notice there we took damage deliberately on Rydborski. I ran up into him deliberately. This is because I want to avoid ranking up. So at the end of each stage here, you automatically start off as a D rank. And if you go through the stage fast enough and defeat a lot of enemies without taking much damage, you rank up. We don't want to rank up because ranking up almost automatically means you rank down immediately after later in the run for a combined loss of 11 seconds. So deliberately get hit because you probably will need to destroy some enemies, and you'll definitely get through the stage quick. So the only other variable that you can actually alter is how much HP do you have. So we deliberately take hits in order to lose time. Or save time. Which might be one of the funniest things that I've ever mentioned in a speedrun. Okay, next up is Tomato Tunyon, who is not an animal, but an onion. This game had some interesting boss designs, but I love this dude. I don't like his stage. And you'll see why. This is probably the biggest reset point in any, when I'm attempting for world record or PB, this is probably the single, point of isolation that everything matters suddenly. So we're just gonna not rescue all these. You want to rescue the third Reploid that comes up. I believe the name is Mika? That's that one. So that one has the chip, one of the 2 chips in the stage. And we just repeatedly dash, we hold down the dash button and jump when we land. That's the fastest way to move in this game, much like the PSX games. The PSX games, I didn't realize that was a double meaning. And we're just gonna go through, don't collect any Reploids, don't let them die either. Either way, that'll add time. And we get to probably the hardest mini-boss in the entire game, because this is all luck, baby. So this is, I don't even know his name. He has a Japanese-only name. I don't even think it's localized in English. He's a crab little dude. He can send out a bunch of missiles. Basically, all the attacks you were dodging just then could be sent out here in 3D. But we just don't want him to go into his shell. I'm just going to rapidly shoot. Yes! That's great. That's actually the best RNG you could get. So, such a relief. I can't even put into words. If he goes into his shell, that's minimum 20 seconds time loss. Often, he will go into his shell multiple times in a row. So if you get multiple of that, then you lose a ton of time. I have gotten 5 in a row before. Also, this is normally, you're supposed to go continuously vertically here, or continuously horizontally here to scale up the tower. You don't need to do that when you got Zero's double jump, which allows you to just skip through, collect the other Reploid we need, and then just get to the end. Which is pretty good. Pretty cool little strat there. Piron! I love this dude. Zero's also fastest for the cutscene here, hence why we don't switch back to Axel. Axel's better for the boss. This is a very hard strat, so I'm going to try my best here. Switch to Axel. Then I want to jump back. Close. I mean, that was almost a 2-cycle, which is so hard to get. You want to use Explosion really carefully so that it gets multiple hits, and then use your G-Launcher to supplement that. That's probably the best Tornado Tunyon I've gotten, because that that still saved time. Because it was before, it was largely before his animation, his, what is it? Desperation attack, which does additional animation. So that was a really good Tornado Tunyon. What can I say other than bless the Tunyon, everyone? Did I rank up? Oh, that made me anxious for a second there. I should mention, by the way, you might notice there's an in-game timer. It's not accurate, unfortunately. We would use that for speedruns, but it's not accurate in the slightest. So we're gonna give Zero, the 2 remaining ones. We've done upgrading Axel. We're gonna give Zero our remaining discs that we get. He now has something called Triple Barrier, which gives him triple the invincibility frames. That's not a joke, that's what they gave him. That's a gold, baby, on Tornado Tunyon, the hardest, most RNG-dependent of stages. Let's go! Ah, that feels really good. I'm not even gonna lie, that feels very good. Next up we have Falco. It's Falco, that's basically his entire personality. It's Wind Crowrang, that's his actual name. So this is probably one of the more infamous stages, yet it's actually really easy in the speedrun. And there's some manipulations you can do here to make the platforming in this section significantly easier. So, there are 3 types of planes. Blue stay still, green go back and forth between set patterns, and red move from one place to another, and these are the most infamous ones because it's very hard to stay still on them. If you walk at all, usually, you will fall off. But because of the red plane, because we moved right on that red plane, the cycles align such that those green planes are able to be done without any waiting at all, which is super quick. If we didn't dash right on that red plane, we would have a cycle that requires waiting like 5 seconds in order to complete this, which makes this much more consistent and significantly less risky, because if you die in that first section, the initial cutscene of them flying in on the plane repeats. Anyways, Tornado Tunyon's weapon. I forgot to mention this. Tornado Tunyon's weapon is absolutely bonkers. Look at that. Look at that. Another Birdman? There you go, that's it. These 2, Explosion and Tornado, are the most broken moves in this entire game. What makes them even more broken is that Zero's version of Tornado Tunyon's weapon is a technique that requires no weapon energy, which means you can spam that as much as you want. And now that Zero has triple invincibility frames, some of the future boss strats you're going to see are just Zero take damage, Zero repeat using Tornado underneath the boss while you don't take any damage at all. I'm just going to concentrate here. That's a nice little strat. If you dash into a wall with your air dash and it doesn't actually finish, you can fall off the wall, air dash again, and your momentum will be conserved, unlike a normal air dash, allowing you to make that gap. I'm going to switch over to Explosion here, or G-Launcher. And we have the shortest cutscene in the game, folks. This is the shortest boss intro cutscene by far. It's slightly faster as Axel. He just says one thing and then says, let's go. Falco, everyone. Anyhow, so we're gonna use Explosion here. We're gonna hit him 3 times, hopefully. Okay. That might not work, but let's see. Yeah, that didn't work. I'm gonna try that again. Just gonna die. There's a quick kill in this boss, which we found recently, so I'm gonna try that again. 2 won't work. I need to get a total of 3 hits. And now he has more than 3. Oh my gosh. Come on. Just... Okay. I don't know if this will work. Let's see. Go back up in the air, please. Please? No. Let me try one more time. That's unfortunate. Do you have any donations or anything to mention? Because you have time for it now while I try this.
Oh, we absolutely do. Thank you so much. We, just this moment, hit $11,000 total for the marathon.
Congrats! Wow!
You all made it
There we
happen
go.
with
That's
your
good,
donations.
Bird. Go right ahead.
Quick kill? Okay, cool. So we missed out on next run earlier of Minute, but we still got some support. Rubicante threw down $10 in support of an awesome bun and my awesome Ferality writing team colleague. Best of luck on the run, Mech. Unfortunately, we missed it, but we still got some support in. Thank you so much, Rubicante. Stripe also threw down $10 towards the bonus game. Might as well bump my total up to 50 then. Fiendly is very convincing. That is actually in the donation. I did not add that. Thank you, Stripe.
I also think Fiendly talks a good game.
Rubicante again, another $5. So, my own personal shame, I was so excited for this game that I pre-ordered it in reference to Mega Man X7.
Well, at least you're seeing it. At least you're seeing it done in much better time. And if it was the U.S. version, I understand. You now know that the U.S. version was artificially harder. This game feels a lot better when you're playing it as with the original damage tables intact. That was the quick kill, by the way, you saw earlier. Sorry that I messed it up so much. Sometimes the hit detection from the background doesn't quite work so well. But we got it in the end. You can see, basically, we make it such that when he lands in that area, it starts his what's it called? His desperation attack animation happens the same frame he gets hit, which means that it cancels the invincibility you normally get during that, and so the tornado just hits him constantly every frame, which results in a much quicker kill than we could get any other way. We're going to see that again in the refights. Sorry?
Real quick, Rubicante went on to say, also, would it be fair to say that for this run, the English voice acting was burned to the ground? I don't get that
voice
reference, but
acting.
I put some Jewish on it.
No, that was good. Burned to the ground. That's the. We'll get to that boss. It's actually the last in this route. That boss is infamous, and it's the reason why we did the bid. I suggested the bid war in the first place. That boss constantly says the same 2 lines in English. It's even worse in Japanese, where he only says 1 line. But since none of you speak Japanese, I don't know about that. Some of you might. He'll just say burn. That's all he says in Japanese. So we'll get to that soon, but not quite yet. Anyhow, this is the mini-boss of this section. We're just gonna immediately use Tornado once, and then use it again to get the last of them. There we go. We can't swap in this section, unfortunately. I mean, Axel's faster for the cutscene anyhow, but we're gonna immediately swap to Zero, and you'll see the benefits of having triple barrier, and Tanyan's weapon. Also, I do want to apologize, Rubicante. Sorry I didn't realize the donation wasn't over. That's my fault. I do want to apologize for that. While we wait here and we see how Donkey Kong does.
A chance to focus.
Yeah. This is Donkey Kong, but with a sword. So we're gonna go ahead and immediately switch to Zero, dash like this, so that it destroys his sword, and we're gonna get hit. We have triple invincibility frames, so just spam the attack. It does multiple hits usually, depending on your position, and that's a dead Donkey Kong, everyone. So both Zero and Axel are quite overpowered, even in New Game. For reference, the other major category is New Game Plus, and usually people run any percent for that. Every character has Hyper Dash, every character has triple invincibility. It gets a little bit too easy, in my opinion, in New Game. So New Game Plus, rather. New Game adds the challenge back in, but still has some really overpowered things, so it never feels like you're always against, you still have a lot to work with, rather than just feeling like, oh, I can't do much in New Game. So this is the last stage where you should hopefully see that rescue list, because this is the last of the parts that we get. We don't need to get, even in, I guess in 100% you technically need to collect them all. You actually can't get everyone fully powered up in one run. You need to do at least 3, because there's only a total of 16 discs in the game in one playthrough, so you can't do much more than getting one person fully powered up per run. So now we're here at Snipe Anteater, and this stage is pretty simple. There's 2 sections in the main area. At the end of the second one, we're going to hover in place as Axel to manipulate the just a little glitch that allows us to get access earlier. But it's pretty much just 3D platforming, some sections where we go upside down. So if you have any more announcements you want to make, now's a really good time. There's about a minute or so.
So let the donations keep on coming. Reshan Dragoness donated $25 and said, "I love your character, FocusSight."
Aww, his name is Vox. He's my robot wasp. I actually designed him entirely myself, which is a big feat for me as someone who's not that creatively, able. So I feel really happy with him. Thank you.
Yeah, I've said the same. I love it as well. We also had Musiquill, $116 donation. 11K hype. That's what pushed us to that 11,000. Thank you so much, Musiquill. Amazing generosity.
Absolutely. Shoutouts to the Kirby GBA speedrunning community as well for Musiquill.
Yeah,
shoot, I should have switched to Zero. Axel's cutscene's a little bit longer here, so we're gonna waste a little bit of time. It's okay. There's about 50 seconds of cutscene here, I think, or like 30 seconds, so feel free to get another donation in.
Oh, sure. We do have one more from Reiko Dactylus. $5, no comment. We love the generosity still. Thank you so much.
11K is amazing. I was hoping it'd be somewhere around 7 so I could make a joke about X7, but I can't. We're now at X11. Is it gonna happen? Who knows? Capcom only can tell. So now, I'm gonna switch over to Zero. We're gonna use Tornado Tunion's weapon again. On his right side, because he dashes towards the right, and as you can see, it does multiple hits if you do that. So you don't want him to go, he can go behind the cylinder, which he just did. And he can stay there for a while and target us from there, but hopefully... Come on. There we go. Yeah, if he has a really good chance of just staying behind that cylinder, the only way you can attack him as Zero is to switch to a different weapon, which we have from a Krorang. But even with Axel's weapons, you cannot really get to him if he stays behind there, and there's a good chance he can. Which could waste anywhere up to a minute, from what I've seen before. But that was actually pretty good overall. There's a little bit of a jump scare when he went back behind us and into the back of the screen, but hey, we got through it. Yeah, the other weapons in this game aren't really as useful as the two we mentioned. You might see we're collecting them still, but like, unfortunately it's just like, not there, in a sense. We do get one last good one, I would say, at least in any percent. More of these are useful in New Game Plus, because in New Game Plus, you get access to the fully upgraded version of X instantaneously, who can use the charged versions of all the weapons we've been using as Axel, the special weapons. X does not get the different guns with different abilities, so he wouldn't get G-Launcher, but he would get, like, charged water, which is really good. It's basically a shield that covers the player and does tons of DPS in the area, so you just stand nearby the enemy and go, water bad for robot, but not for me. Which is quite funny. So now we're at the most scary, the most intimidating boss in Mega Man X history. This is a bunch of mini-bosses. What's scarier, guys, everyone, guys, gals, and everyone in between, than an airplane that's on a platform? Yep. It's just an airplane on a platform that shoots at you. We also got great luck there, because it stayed near the front. If you shoot it and defeat it near the back, Axel has to walk all the way behind from where, like, the end part of the thing and walk up to the front of the thing, which you have no control over. Ooh, that's bad. Let me just use Zero here. Switch back to Axel. You might notice as well I was rolling there. One thing I forgot to mention is that rolling for most of Axel's weapons, I think it's just his base gun, but there are some other ones that also have his base gun. If you roll and hold the shoot button, it will auto-target whatever your reticle's locked onto and keep you completely invincible during the entire animation of the roll. It's not faster, but it is significantly safer than a lot of other means when you want to get quick kills on things that don't have large invincibility frames. So, we now have the bridge. Mechanical bridge is his name because it's the bridge of a ship. I do a slightly different strat here, so I'm just going to shoot a few keys, then I'm going to use the missile to get these ones. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another second because I didn't get it to fully turn around. If you get it so that the one that turns around from the right is shot before the turning animation finishes, you can complete this using the automatic homing missiles in 2 cycles. Took me a little more than that, but not too much more. Another strat you can use is to use the tornado weapon and just point it at the turrets. That's a little bit riskier in my opinion. I'm going to switch to Zero here, because Zero's our tank. He is a little bit slower, but I don't want to waste that much health as Axel. Because Axel will be necessary moving forward for this. So now we get... I think this is my personal favorite Maverick in this game. I love Splash 4 Fly, especially his Japanese voice. Yatsune. I love him. He's supposed to be a flying fish. I don't know. I just love him. He's a good little gremlin of a Maverick. I'm gonna switch to Zero to use his weakness. His weakness is actually Tornado Tunyon's weapon, but we don't want to use Tornado Tunyon too much. We're gonna switch to Explosion. Where's Explosion? Switch over to Zero to finish him off. Zero has triple invincibility frames, and if we stand in this position, he can't hurt us. He can't go back into the water, he can't hurt us, meaning that this is the perfect place to just use Explosion twice, and then continue to slash as Zero, because he won't go back into the water if you stand at the right spot. It's a bit of an RNG manip, otherwise it would be random when he goes back in or not, but he just can't go back in if he's aiming at that corner, which makes it significantly faster. Zero also has different, like, he doesn't always have a Z-Saber in this game, but quite literally everything besides his Z-Saber is weaker. So we don't use it unless we absolutely have to in some circumstances. That was a pretty clean work life, all things considered. And now we get on to the fan favorite, the one everyone knows in Mega Man X7. This is Flame Hyanard. We save him for last just because you could pretty much do the remaining 3 in any order after you... Well, you could do the remaining 4 in any order. The only places you need to get chips from are Gungaroo, Borsky, Tunyon, Stonekong. I put in Croarang 4th so that we can get a bit more health for Stonekong, because every boss you defeat gives you an additional health and weapon segment for whichever character you defeat the boss as. We're going to want to use water here, by the way. Water has high DPS at close range. Gonna wait here. So you can see like that, makes it safer to go through. I don't want to take too much damage, because we're going to need to damage boost a lot as Axel coming up. If we do this right... I guess technically that's faster, but it's riskier. You want to roll underneath that enemy. You can roll the entire time. To be safe here, I'm going to switch to Zero, because he has triple invincibility frames, and these dragon enemies, they do knockback. I'm going to want to take damage here. Avoid Jim, that's his name. Oh, that was so close to dying. Cool. Yeah, it's a bit slower to do that, but it's safer to do that as Zero there, because you can go through that entire section as Axel. It requires you to not get knocked down by those dragon enemies, and that's really, really rough. We're actually now going to finally use Axel's ability. We're going to copy this person. By the way, this ability is called A-Trans, so A-Trans rights, but also actual trans rights, because trans rights are human rights. The ability is called A-Trans, Axel Trans. And this dude has an air dash ability that we spam to go through the stage quick. That skips the entirety of the platforming section there, but if you tried walking through that, it would be very slow. So you just spam jump, hover, jump, or you spam jump, dash, and get through that section. Unfortunately, unlike like the mechs, if Axel uses A-Trans or the copy shot to copy someone, it's still his health, which means you have to be careful, but we only need Axel for the very beginning here. Flame Hierarchy here is on a giant antelope. And we want to break this antelope's knees. Which we do like this, it keeps it in place. We're then going to move forward here 0 and repeatedly spam this attack. Until the antelope gets up. Once it does, we wait for it to stop. And then we spam again. Should be 3 hits. There we go. A bit of a rough ending there. I'm just keeping cautious here because the game does soft lock sometimes here. It did it immediately. Oh, thank goodness. That's wonderful. For some reason, this seems to be an issue that I have particularly. The end of that boss will just not continue on to the rest of the results screen. 0 will turn away from me and wait 30 seconds, and this happened in my PB. He waited 30 seconds before turning back around, and then just continuing like nothing ever happened. So I was really nervous that would happen again, but actually that saved us some time on my PB. Because my PB has that. Up next is Palace Road, and people were asking earlier, oh, this is a Mega Man X game. Where's Mega Man X? For all you X fans out there, big X heads, we got X right here. Say hello to X, everyone. Hi, X. Bye, X. So we do unlock X, but by the time that we unlock him, he has 2 unlock requirements. Either defeat all 8 Mavericks, which we just did, or get 64 of the 128. It's 128 Reploids. So it is 16, yeah. Get half of the Reploids, which neither is feasible in any percent new game, and by the time we'd unlock him, he'd be so underpowered because he has none of the chips, none of the health or weapon upgrades that we get from defeating bosses, that it's just not feasible to put him in. He is more effective in New Game Plus. It's worthwhile mentioning that. He is better than Axel in New Game Plus. But he is not better than Axel in New Game, where you've already, developed Axel quite a bit. So this is an auto-scroller. This auto-scroller lasts 4.5 minutes. Yeah, it's quite a lot of time. There's only one other weapon that has use here, and it's Stone Kongs. If we use Stone Kong's shield, can destroy these barrels, and it's the only weapon I'm aware of that can destroy them. So this auto-scroller, again, this is the first section, and then the second section you have to be a bit more cautious. There's a few sections where we actually use Axel's hover, the other major ability that Axel has besides copy shot and different guns rather than different special weapons, is hovering, which is usually too slow to be useful, but since this is an auto-scroller, it's a safety measure. With that in mind, though, this is a good time for announcements, donations, whatever you may have, Fiendly.
Thank you. We unfortunately do not have any new donations, which I would urge viewers to get them in if you are all at all able. I'm always very excited to see those. Throughout our marathon, we welcome donations of all sizes in support of Trans Lifeline. You don't need to make a big donation to make a big impact. Just $25 connects one person in need to the Trans Lifeline peer support hotline. Even a $5 donation, when combined with 4 other people donating the same $5, can have a meaningful impact on someone's life. Something to consider. And
I think we should get a $7 donation train going. Because it's X7.
Oh,
$7.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Anyhow, feel free to continue.
Yeah. Bring it in. So yeah, consider when you're donating if you want to donate, type !donate in chat. Let your friends know how they can help as well. That's right, this charity you can support even beyond this marathon. We highly recommend you do. It is a fantastic cause.
Absolutely. Especially since Trans Awareness Week is starts tomorrow, I believe, and then Trans Day of Remembrance is the 20th. Next
that it does.
Monday.
Yep. We were just headcanoning that X is non-binary because you get an X marker if that is your non-gender.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Axel's
So
trans,
Axel trans.
X is non-binary. I get it. 0 is a supportive ally.
Absolutely.
Because we have 0 tolerance of anti-trans policies. There we go.
I love it.
I'm sure Zero would support. I mean, I'm sure Zero would support all people, including trans people, because trans people are people. So here at the end,
Yeah.
this is the mole board that's been chasing us for 4 minutes now. What do you think we use on it, Feedly?
Onion spin?
Not quite. It's the other one. Explosion. Just shoot it twice and it's dead. All for 4 minutes, we just wait to do that. Oh, what a lovely design game.
Running in
I love
terror
this
from a
game.
thing you could defeat instantly, had you even tried.
But we can't because it's invincible until then. Yeah, that split is like consistently always the segment timer for that split for me is almost always consistently like 4:30. If it's somehow less than 4:30, either I died or my game is loading slower. So now we have the final stage, actually. And this final stage, this is actually the least amount of stages in a Mega Man X game. Technically only 11, but the last stage makes up about a quarter of the run. Because you got the refights, and the refights are pretty slow by X standards. We're going to use Axel here for a little bit to get forward, and then we're going to use Zero. Because we're going to use the invincibility frames we get from these to then slash jump up with a bit more height to skip the boulders, which would instantly knock you back if you didn't have invincibility frames. So that saves some time, and we do it again here in the last stretch. And we actually went over the thing, which means Zero's going to have to turn around, which wastes time. I was a bit too fast there. Okay, so we now come face to face with Red, who's the head of the vigilante front that Axel was part of, called Red Alert. I guess he likes naming things after himself. There is someone they're talking about called the Professor, who is definitely not Sigma, who's been pulling the strings this entire time. Why would it be? It's not like we saw a Sigma icon on the stage selecting this, so it must just be someone else. Red must be the final boss, right? Yeah, about that. Not quite. We're gonna defeat Red here using the tornado. And we're gonna do it in a very interesting way. We're gonna manipulate his turning frames. Oh, that was too many hits. Oh well. So yeah, he will disappear if you do 2 hits on him. 2 hits of the tornado. But what you want him to do is to get hit once, and then turn around, so that you can do multiple hits thereafter. Unfortunately, I'm not getting many of my multi-hits. He has 2 phases. We're still in his first phase right now, where he's going to appear in one of the 3x3 grid spaces here, which is consistent. Oh, that was scary. That was pretty good. Yep, that's actually going to save us some time. I'm going to be safe here. We got an energy tank in Splash Warfly stage to be safe just here. Now he can appear in any of the grid. Not if you do that, though. Oops, and we had to start the stage from the beginning. That's okay. I hopefully can show some of the things better here, and, you know, my estimate accounts for that. That's only 2 again. Yeah, so he can only appear in this 3x3 grid for the first phase of the fight, until he's about half health. But, so that makes him consistent. In the second part, he could do... He can go to the very beginning of the stage, where we initially started. Which is bad. You don't want that, because I hope it like, takes the most time to get back out there. Like, by far. Okay. I don't have my health. Oh, that's not good. I might have to switch to Axel, just to play it safe. We'll see. I will. Oh, he's at the 3rd most. That's his weakness. He'll melee do a tornado. And then go back to the center. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Bit of time loss, but we can make this up. Where is he appearing next? Oh, here. Yay! That's Red, everyone. That's unfortunate. That is a bit of time lost, but we made it up more than soundly. Next up, we have the we have two paths here actually, and I'm gonna just quickly get some health here. We're gonna switch over to one weapon we actually have. Well, we used it before, homing missile from Snipe Anteater. The fastest path is this right path. There are like 7 ways to defeat the mechanaloids in this room, but my favorite way, and I think is the most efficient, get them to turn and then shoot the missile. The homing missile will home in on them, as per the name, but you can then supplement it with rolling regular shots. If you stand in the right spot, it should allow them to almost instant kill. Unfortunately, my positioning is not great here. There we go. See how quickly that takes them out? It's like really efficient. And for the rest of the thing, use water, because it's really high DPS close up. And there you go. That's that section done. And now we get up to the wolf room, as I like to call it. It's what its name is. It's the wolf room. There are 3 wolves inside this room. All 3 of them are gay. That's it. That's the room. It's the place that connects both paths, so it's always there. But it's funny because the right side's just defeat these enemies, then meet some wolves. That's quite literally it. We're now going to damage boost here as Axel, because while Axel doesn't have triple invincibility, he's still the faster character, so we want to use him here. I might need to use my health sooner than I expected, my energy tank. I'm gonna take it here just to be safe. Over here, dash underneath, perfect. Take hit there. Yeah, so having the weapon tank makes these sections significantly safer. It's worth going for, because it's right there in a Warfly stage. Might as well get it. I left the wolves alone. The wolves can do, gay wolves can do as gay wolves please. So we're gonna quickly get the weapon refill and the health refill here. We're gonna switch over to explosion, and we're going to do a very specific thing. I realized I didn't split at the room entry, so whoops, might be a false gold. We're gonna just run up to Borsky. And there we go. Reload using the weapon tank we got. Unfortunately, he's invincible right here. Will you stop? And there we go. That's how you defeat. The refight strategies are slightly different because they all have more health than in their initial fights, because we've improved as characters. So the game technically is like a variable system for like how difficult a boss can be, depending on how well you do in each of the stages, which is why we also don't want to rank up. We're going to go over here to Krorang, and hopefully I get this first try, because I really don't have any other option besides just using Explosion, which will be my backup. So, instead of doing 3 shots here, we only want to do 2 against him, because the timing is slightly different because of the additional health. Okay, I'm just going to let him fall over here. Come on, buddy. Oh, we died. That should be okay, actually. Because fortunately, the restart function in this game is very generous. So we'll restart immediately from the boss room, and it won't lose us any additional time.
What do you say to some donations while you're doing the refights?
Yeah.
And getting back where you were?
Feel free. You got a few minutes.
Excellent. So I was very happy to see that your call for a $7 train has been answered.
Yes, that's
Raccoon,
great.
Yeah. Raccoon immediately jumped in, shouting $7 train on top of his $7 donation. So too did the raffle. $7, saying lucky number 7. Psycho Volpes returns. This time, $10 donation. I refuse to join a $7 train. Here's $10. We'll allow it. And similarly, Wydick Firestorm, $10 as well. Sending what I can at the moment to support an amazing cause. Keep up the great work, everyone. You are all amazing. You
$10
too,
still works.
Firestorm.
$10
yeah.
still works because, hey, you can interpret X as 10.
Oh, that's brilliant. Very true.
Any more announcements?
Well, that's all the donations we had. So, again, bring them in if you can. The incentives are looking pretty good. We are up to 278 out of 1,250 towards the bonus game. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. We're
You want to
making
get that
very
map.
good progress. Yeah, absolutely. Only about $1,000 away, slightly less. We got about 5 or 6 hours by my count, so get them in. We desperately want to see that met, and I believe we can do it. Come on, chat, help us out.
That's the end of Burn to the Ground, man. I forgot what my skip split button is. So because I don't want to have a false gold, nor do I want to accidentally reset the run. I'm just gonna split later while my timer. We're gonna quickly go here to. Oh, I need to undo that one. We're gonna go here to Stone Kong. This is the same strategy as before, except we start with 0, so we can immediately get a few hits on him, destroy his sword so he can't go behind us anymore, and then just wail on him. Like that. It's incredibly easy. It's not a Dreamcast game though. This is a PS2 game. Although those are not that far in terms of specs. Skip is not S. Oh, what did I set it to? Anyway, this is actually a new strategy exclusive to the refights. This strategy right here for Tunyon. What's the most effective weapon against Tunyon? Why, of course, it's his own weapon. We use his own weapon against him.
Perfectly symmetrical violence solves everything in this instance.
I missed the first hit, which would have meant we didn't have to go through his animation, but that's okay.
We got in another donation.
Awesome.
Cool. Meat donated $49 with a comment, 7 sevens, 7 trained on 7s.
Yeah, that's 7 times 7. I was trying to figure out why 49 was the case. That is 7 times 7. That's X equals 7. 7 times 7 is 49, so this is actually Mega Man 49. Oh, this is a bad start to Anteater. Anteater, come back here, come back here, come back, please. You're... Oh, and yeah, that's the other thing. If he gets hit, he usually spins very quickly around the stage, so I want to trap him on the far side of him, so that he can't escape very far. Okay, he's invincible. No, he's not. No, he's gonna come back, right? No? That is what I mean when this game is very RNG dependent, unfortunately.
We can ease the pain of that misfortune with another donation.
Absolutely. Pain is a very harsh word for that, but it's all good.
Melody Bird sends in $50, helping the cause, trans rights.
Thank you, everyone, for donating to this event and to this cause. It's just wonderful to see everything. I'm really happy about it. I'm also really happy I'm sad that I'm destroying my favorite Reploid right now. My favorite Maverick. We're gonna swap to Axel, and we're gonna actually have 4 explosions. My mom let me have 4 explosions this morning because we have the weapon tank. There we go. That was quick. That could be that genuinely might be a goal. Unfortunately, we saved the worst for last, which is Gungaroo without the tank. That was a gold, genuinely a gold. Let's go. We saved the worst for last, which is Gungaroo. We don't have the right armor to depend on for this one, so this can be quite variable in terms of how it goes, but there's a strat for the beginning at least, assuming that Gungaroo goes the direction I want him to. Just gonna dash forward, and then Tornado. He did not. I'm gonna stand roughly here, and if we can get it, let's try for the RNG exploit. We didn't. This is gonna be rough, folks. There is a thing where you can trap him in his standing animation, which is the most effective way to defeat him, but it's dependent on positioning, and if the positioning messes up, then you waste all that time. If you don't have that, using Tornado Tanyan's weapon is most effective. Because again, high DPS. We also just need to get close to you. That wasn't too bad, actually, all things considered. We're coming up on time soon enough, by the way. We have only 2 more fights left, and that will be the end of the run. And it seems we'll still be underestimate, even with all those funky little moments, let's call it. Which is fitting, because we got Bomber Cyberpunk coming up, so make sure to donate for that. So this is the last part of this. And who could have thought? Who is the professor that was helping them all along, Red Alert? Oh, it's Sigma! Who would... Oh! Such a surprise! I'm flabbergasted here. Yeah, so Sigma's the real boss. Like every other game. Hi, X! Nice to see you again. He's just chilling with us, supportive non-binary friend. Sigma is bad, and we have to wait through this cutscene. And he just says, "Oh, there's a new little folk here. Let's get going." He just says to Axel, "Oh, there's someone new here." So phase 1 is pretty simple, all reliable with 0. Just gonna go back and forth with this, and the RNG, if it's good, it might not be. Okay, let's see, where is he going? He's going in the background. That's not what we want. If he goes in the background, that wastes time. The only way you can defeat him is by swapping weapons. And he really does not like me today, huh? We need to swap weapons, use that, and then we need to wait for him. At this point, he'll only go between the back... What is happening with this run? Okay. Please don't go in the background again. I have never had this bad of luck. Please? Okay, thank you. So we're gonna repeatedly slash on him there. That's the first phase done. It's not the end of the run, though. The end of the run comes up very soon. This has been a wild ride, everyone. You've seen how RNG can impact the game pretty severely. So, I've never had that ever. But we're gonna... The end is pretty simple, so long as he plays fair with us. So he's gonna shoot a purple laser, and we want to avoid that. If we don't... So the unfortunate thing about the... Oh, he's doing the one thing that I can't attack him from. Of course he is. Yeah, he just stands there and shoots. So there's 2 sets to this. When he gets hit again... Okay, need to be careful here. Oh my gosh. No. He just stood there and did nothing? What was that for? I've legitimately never seen that in my life. What attack was that? He just stood there! Okay, I found the spot. You want to stay on this spot and repeatedly shoot at him if he doesn't teleport away. Okay, we're good. Time is coming up soon. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. What did Sigma have cooking in that pot for me? What was he thinking? He just stood there? He just stood there and watched. I've never seen that before.
still an amazing showcase despite the weirdness. We love to
No,
see
it's
unique
still great.
things as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy. Watch Axel get punched. There we go. That's the end of the game, everyone. No, it's not, but
Cool.
yeah, no, that was Mega Man X7, everyone.
Got any quick plugs, shout-outs, anything like that?
Sure. So first of all, thank you to Fastest First for having me once again. It was lovely hosting and running, even with how funny this run ended up being. I'm so glad we were underestimated still. Shows that the estimate's quite strong. I want to say thank you to my friend Bat or Boot from TV, who made my PNG tuber, the one you've been seeing here. The character is my creation, but it's his work in making that, so thanks, Boot, for that. He's a lovely guy. I want to thank the Mega Man X runners of the Mega Man X speedrunning community, especially people like The Pot and Time Link, who are good friends of mine who run X7. We'll eventually get this timed out even further if the game is nice to us. It's really funny because the RNG started off perfectly here, with Tornado Titanium getting a gold, and then it went somewhere after that. But I had a fun time. I hope you all did too. And thank you for having me, Fastest First. Look forward to the remaining runs.